Hello friends, how are you? Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Jefferson nickels and uncovering some of the most talked about coins in American history. These small coins may look ordinary at first glance, but hidden among them could be rare treasures that have captured the attention of collectors and investors around the world. In this exciting countdown, we'll explore three remarkable Jefferson nickels: the 1982 D, the 1983 P, and the 1989 D mint mark coins. We'll uncover their history, examine their iconic designs, discuss their different color shades and conditions, and reveal why these coins continue to generate excitement in the coin collecting community. Some examples have sold for impressive amounts because of their rarity, condition, and collector demand. Many people overlook old nickels because they appear worn, dirty, or common. However, experienced collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. A coin hiding in an old jar, coin album, pocket, or family collection could contain details that make it far more interesting than its face value suggests. That is why millions of collectors continue searching through their coins every day, hoping to uncover a hidden gem. The Jefferson nickel itself carries a rich American legacy, featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the front and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse. These coins represent an important piece of United States history. For decades, they have circulated through the hands of millions of Americans, quietly preserving stories from the past while creating new mysteries for collectors to solve. Today, we'll take a closer look at three Jefferson nickels that have sparked curiosity among enthusiasts. We'll separate fact from fiction, explore what makes certain examples collectible, and discover why condition, mint marks, and preservation can play such an important role in determining value. So before you spend that old nickel sitting in your drawer, make sure to watch until the very end. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your collection. Let's begin our countdown with coin number 1, the fascinating 1982 D Jefferson nickel. Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we are uncovering the fascinating story of one of America's most talked about coins, the 1960 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary copper coin that millions of people have handled, spent, and forgotten over the years. Yet hidden within the history of this small coin is a story of American heritage, collector excitement, and the possibility of discovering a valuable treasure where nobody expected to find one. Imagine opening an old wooden box that has been sitting untouched for decades. Inside are a few dusty coins, their surfaces darkened by time and covered with years of wear. Most people would see nothing more than spare change. A coin collector, however, sees something entirely different. Every scratch, every shade of color, every detail on the coin tells a story. Among those forgotten pieces could be a 1960 Lincoln penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors for generations. The year 1960 was an interesting period in American history. The nation was entering a new decade filled with optimism, technological progress, and cultural change. During this time, millions of Lincoln pennies were produced by the United States Mint to meet the growing demand for circulating coinage. These pennies carried the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that had already become one of the most recognized images in American coin history. When Americans received these coins in their pocket change, very few imagined they would become objects of fascination. Decades later, the coins passed from hand to hand through grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, and banks. They traveled across the country and became part of everyday life. For most people, they were worth only 1 cent. For collectors today, some examples are worth far more because of their condition, rarity, and unique characteristics. The first thing that attracts attention to the 1960 penny is its classic copper composition. Unlike many modern coins, these pennies were made primarily of copper, giving them a rich reddish appearance when freshly struck. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused many coins to change color. Some developed brown tones, while others displayed beautiful mixtures of red and brown shades. Collectors carefully examine these colors because original red examples are often more desirable than heavily toned coins. Now let's talk about the no mint mark variety. A 1960 penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. During that era, Philadelphia coins generally did not carry a mint mark, making the absence of a mark completely normal. However, what makes some of these coins special is not simply the lack of a mint mark. Instead, it is the combination of exceptional preservation, unusual striking characteristics, and collector demand that can dramatically increase value. Imagine a coin that somehow escaped circulation entirely. Instead of being spent, it was carefully stored away in a roll, a collection, or a safe place where it remained untouched for decades. Such a coin could retain much of its original mint luster, the brilliant shine that appears when a coin leaves the mint. Finding a coin in this condition after more than 60 years is uncommon, and collectors are often willing to pay significant premiums for these well-preserved examples. The excitement becomes even greater when collectors discover unusual varieties or striking anomalies. Coin enthusiasts spend countless hours examining pennies under magnification, searching for details that distinguish one coin from millions of others. Sometimes a tiny difference in lettering, spacing, or strike quality can turn an ordinary coin into a sought-after collectible. This treasure hunting aspect is one of the reasons coin collecting remains popular around the world. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln itself adds historical significance to the coin. Lincoln is remembered as one of America's most influential presidents, and his image has appeared on the cent since 1909. Every 1960 penny serves as a miniature piece of American history, connecting modern collectors to a different era. Holding one of these coins is like holding a small artifact that has survived decades of economic change, political events, and cultural transformation. Many people wonder whether a dirty or worn 1960 penny could still be valuable. The answer depends on several factors. Dirt alone does not create value, but rarity and condition can. Some heavily circulated coins remain worth only a small amount above face value, while certain exceptional examples command much higher prices. This is why experienced collectors always recommend examining old coins carefully before spending them. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the difference between appearance and reality. A coin that looks ordinary may possess characteristics that only a trained eye can recognize. Conversely, a shiny coin may not necessarily be rare. This mystery keeps collectors searching through rolls of pennies, estate sales, antique shops, and inherited collections in hopes of discovering something remarkable. Over the years, stories have circulated about people finding valuable coins in unexpected places. Some discovered rare pieces in old piggy banks. Others found collectible coins hidden in family collections passed down through generations. These stories fuel the imagination because they remind us that valuable items are not always found in museums or auction houses. Sometimes they are sitting quietly in a forgotten drawer. The 1960 Lincoln penny also represents a period when American coins were still strongly associated with copper. The warm metallic color gives these coins a distinctive appearance that many collectors prefer over modern issues. When viewed under proper lighting, an original red specimen can display a beautiful glow that highlights every detail of Lincoln's portrait and the wheat-like texture of the design elements. As demand from collectors continues, top-quality examples often attract considerable attention. Professional grading services evaluate coins according to strict standards, assigning numerical grades that reflect their condition. Even a small difference in grade can have a significant effect on market value. This is why collectors pay close attention to preservation, surface quality, strike sharpness, and original luster. For beginners, the most exciting lesson is that knowledge can be more valuable than luck. Understanding how coins were produced, learning to recognize important details, and studying historical context allows collectors to make informed decisions. Every coin has a story, and every discovery adds another chapter to the larger history of American numismatics. The enduring popularity of the 1960 Lincoln penny comes from more than its monetary value. It represents nostalgia, history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of the hunt. It reminds collectors that extraordinary stories can emerge from ordinary objects. A simple penny, often overlooked and ignored, can inspire curiosity and excitement decades after it was minted. When examining a 1960 penny, look carefully at the date, the condition of the surfaces, the presence or absence of a mint mark, and the overall quality of the strike. Observe the color and determine whether the coin retains original mint characteristics. These observations help collectors understand where a coin fits within the marketplace and whether it may deserve closer Study. Many newcomers dream of finding a coin worth a fortune overnight. While truly extraordinary discoveries are rare, the possibility keeps the hobby alive. Every collector knows that the next coin examined could reveal something unexpected. This sense of anticipation transforms a handful of old cents into a journey through history and possibility. Today, most circulated 1960 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies are worth only a small premium above face value. While attractive uncirculated examples may be worth considerably more depending on condition. The highest quality specimens, especially those certified by professional grading services, can achieve impressive prices compared with ordinary coins. Their value reflects rarity of preservation rather than the date alone. What makes this story so captivating is the contrast between size and significance. The coin is small enough to fit on a fingertip, yet its journey spans more than 6 decades. It has witnessed changing generations, evolving economies, and countless personal stories. Every mark on its surface represents a moment in time. So before you dismiss an old penny as worthless spare change, take a closer look. Examine its details. Consider its history. Think about where it may have traveled and whose hands may have carried it over the years. You may not discover $1 million treasure, but you will hold a genuine piece of American history that has survived the test of time. And that is the incredible story of the 1960 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, a humble copper coin that continues to fascinate collectors, inspire treasure hunters, and remind us that sometimes the most ordinary objects carry the most extraordinary stories. If you have one of these coins tucked away in a collection, now might be the perfect time to take a closer look. Because every great discovery begins with a single glance. Next up, welcome back to Change Your Life. Get ready, because the next coin on our countdown is one of the most mysterious and fascinating Lincoln cents ever. Discussed among collectors, the 1967 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than an ordinary copper coin that may have spent decades hidden in drawers, old jars, family collections, or forgotten piggy banks. But what if this small piece of metal carries a story that stretches across generations of American history? What if a coin that many people overlook could actually be one of the most interesting treasures hiding in plain sight? Imagine reaching into a box of old coins inherited from a grandparent. Dust covers the surface, the copper color has darkened with age, and the coin seems no different from countless others. Most people would toss it aside without a second thought. Yet experienced collectors know that some of the most intriguing discoveries begin exactly this way. A forgotten coin, resting quietly for decades, suddenly becomes the center of attention because of its history, condition, and collector demand. The year 1967 was a unique moment in the history of American coinage. During the mid-1960s, the United States was experiencing an enormous demand for coins. The government wanted to keep coins circulating smoothly throughout the economy, and special measures were introduced to discourage hoarding and speculative collecting. As part of these efforts, mint marks were temporarily removed from circulating coins. That means Lincoln cents struck during 1967 carried no mint mark regardless of where they were produced. This unusual chapter in American coin history makes the 1967 penny especially interesting to collectors today. When these coins entered circulation, nobody imagined that decades later people would carefully examine them under magnification, searching for hidden details and rare characteristics. Millions of Americans handled these pennies every day. They bought newspapers, candy, gasoline, and groceries. They traveled through cash registers, banks, and pockets across the nation. Each coin became a silent witness to everyday life in America during a period of significant social and economic change. One of the most attractive features of the 1967 Lincoln penny is its copper composition. Unlike many modern cents, these coins were made primarily of copper, giving them a rich and warm appearance. Fresh examples displayed brilliant red surfaces that glowed under light. As the years passed, exposure to air and handling caused many coins to develop brown or reddish-brown shades. Today, collectors often pay special attention to color because original red examples are generally more desirable than heavily darkened pieces. The design itself remains one of the most recognizable in American history. The obverse features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a president whose leadership shaped the nation during one of its Most challenging periods. The reverse displays the familiar Lincoln Memorial design that defined the appearance of the cent for generations. Together, these elements transform a simple penny into a miniature historical artifact representing both American heritage and national identity. Perhaps the most exciting part of collecting 1967 pennies is the possibility of discovering an unusually well preserved specimen. Most examples circulated extensively and acquired scratches, marks, and wear over time. However, a small number escaped heavy circulation and retained much of their original mint brilliance. These coins are far more difficult to find and often attract strong interest from collectors seeking the finest examples available. Imagine finding a 1967 penny that appears almost untouched despite being nearly 60 years old. Its surfaces still shimmer with original luster. The details of Lincoln's portrait remain sharp and crisp. The fields surrounding the design reflect light beautifully. Such a coin immediately stands apart from ordinary circulated examples. Collectors understand that preservation of this quality becomes increasingly rare as decades pass. The thrill of the search is one of the reasons the 1967 penny continues to captivate coin enthusiasts. Every collector dreams of discovering something extraordinary hidden among ordinary coins. A small detail overlooked by others could transform a routine coin into a highly desirable collectible. This sense of mystery fuels countless hours spent examining old collections and searching through rolls of pennies. Stories of remarkable discoveries have become part of coin collecting folklore. People have reported finding valuable coins in inherited collections, estate sales, forgotten jars, and even loose change. While most coins are common, the possibility of uncovering a special piece keeps collectors motivated. Every old penny carries the potential to reveal a story waiting to be discovered. The condition of a coin plays an enormous role in determining its value. Many people believe dirt or age automatically makes a coin rare, but collectors focus on different factors. Sharp details, original surfaces, attractive color, and minimal damage are often more important than age alone. A common coin in exceptional condition can sometimes command far greater interest than an older coin that has suffered extensive wear. Professional grading services have added another dimension to the hobby. Experts carefully examine coins and assign numerical grades that reflect their preservation. Even a single point difference can have a major impact on market value. This is why collectors handle valuable coins with great care and often store them in protective holders designed to preserve their condition. The 1967 Lincoln cent also reflects a fascinating period in economic history. America was experiencing growth, innovation, and change. These pennies circulated during an era of technological advancement and cultural transformation. Every surviving coin serves as a physical reminder of that moment in time. Holding one today creates a connection between the present and a world that existed decades ago. Many collectors become fascinated by subtle variations among coins from the same year. Differences in strike quality, color, and surface preservation can create significant distinctions between individual examples. This attention to detail transforms coin collecting into both an art and a science. Each coin must be evaluated on its own merits, making every discovery unique. The popularity of Lincoln cents has remained strong for generations because they are accessible, historical, and filled with possibilities. Beginners can start with pocket change, while advanced collectors pursue the finest known examples. The 1967 penny occupies a special place within this tradition because it comes from a year unlike most others in American coinage history. Some people hear stories about coins selling for astonishing amounts and wonder whether every old penny is a hidden fortune. The reality is more complex. Most 1967 pennies remain affordable collectibles, but exceptional examples, rare errors, and top-grade specimens can attract substantial premiums. Knowledge, careful examination, and patience are essential for understanding the true potential of any coin. What makes the 1967 penny so captivating is not simply its monetary value but the sense of possibility it represents. It reminds us that history often survives in the smallest objects. A coin worth only 1 cent in commerce can become a treasured collectible because of its story, preservation, and significance to collectors. As you examine old coins, pay attention to details that others might ignore. Look closely at the date, the quality of the strike, the color of the copper, and the overall condition. Notice whether the coin retains original luster or has developed attractive natural toning. These observations can reveal far more than most people realize. For many collectors, the greatest reward is not financial gain but the excitement of discovery. The search itself becomes an adventure. Every box opened, every jar examined, and every coin inspected carries the possibility of uncovering something remarkable. This spirit of exploration is what keeps the hobby thriving generation after generation. Today, most circulated 1967 Lincoln pennies with no mint mark are worth only modest amounts above face value. While attractive uncirculated examples can be worth significantly more depending on quality. The highest grade certified coins may command impressive premiums because they represent the finest surviving examples. From that year, their value comes from rarity of condition rather than from the date alone. As our journey through the story of the 1967 Lincoln cent comes to an end, one lesson becomes clear. Never underestimate the importance of a small coin. What appears ordinary at first glance may carry decades of history, craftsmanship, and collector interest. Hidden within that piece of copper is a connection to another era and a reminder that treasures are often found where few people think to look. So before spending an old 1967 Lincoln penny, take a closer look. Examine its details carefully. Consider its history. Appreciate the remarkable journey it has taken through time. Whether it turns out to be a valuable collectible or simply a cherished keepsake, it remains an authentic piece of American history that has survived for generations. And sometimes, that story alone is worth far more than a single cent. Next up, welcome back to Change Your Life. We've reached the final coin in today's incredible countdown, and this one may surprise you more than any other. Imagine discovering a simple copper penny that has been sitting unnoticed in an old coin jar. A forgotten collection, or a dusty drawer for decades. Most people would never give it a second glance. Yet among collectors, the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark has become a fascinating piece of American coin history. What appears ordinary on the surface can sometimes reveal an extraordinary story hidden beneath years of neglect, circulation, and mystery. Picture yourself sorting through a pile of old coins inherited from a family member. The pennies look worn, dark, and ordinary. Some are covered with dirt, while others have lost much of their original shine. Suddenly, one date catches your attention, 1978. It seems like a common year, a coin that millions of Americans once carried in their pockets. But as every experienced collector knows, the most exciting discoveries often begin with the coins that nobody expects to be special. The year 1978 was a fascinating period in American history. The nation was moving through a decade marked by economic challenges, cultural changes, and technological progress. Every day, millions of Lincoln cents entered circulation and became part of everyday commerce. They traveled through grocery stores, restaurants, banks, vending machines, and countless pockets across the country. At the time, nobody imagined that collectors decades later would carefully examine these same coins under magnification, searching for details that could separate ordinary examples from highly desirable collectibles. The 1978 Lincoln cent without a mint mark was struck for circulation from the Philadelphia Mint. During this period, Philadelphia pennies generally did not carry a mint mark, making the absence of a mark completely normal. Yet the fascination surrounding these coins does not come from the missing mint mark itself. Instead, collectors focus on condition, preservation, color, striking quality, and unusual varieties that may exist among surviving examples. One of the reasons collectors love the 1978 penny is its copper-rich composition. Unlike modern cents, these coins contain a substantial amount of copper, giving them a warm and attractive appearance. Freshly minted examples displayed bright red surfaces that glowed under light. As decades passed, exposure to the environment caused many coins to develop brown tones, reddish-brown shades, or dark copper colors. Collectors often pay close attention to these color classifications because original red coins are generally more difficult to find and more desirable than heavily toned examples. The design itself remains one of the most iconic in American coinage. The front features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, whose image has appeared on the cent for generations. The reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a design that became deeply associated with the American 1-cent coin. Together, these elements transformed a simple penny into a miniature piece of national history, carrying the legacy of one of America's most respected leaders. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of the 1978 Lincoln cent is the challenge of finding one in exceptional condition. Most examples spent years circulating through commerce, accumulating scratches, marks, and signs of wear. Coins that survived with original mint luster, sharp details, and minimal damage became increasingly difficult to locate as time passed. Today, these high-quality examples attract considerable attention from collectors seeking the finest surviving specimens. Imagine discovering a 1978 penny that appears almost untouched despite being nearly half a century old. The coin still shines with original brilliance. Lincoln's portrait remains sharp and detailed. The fields surrounding the design reflect light beautifully. Such a coin immediately stands apart from the countless worn examples encountered every day. For collectors, preservation of this quality transforms a common date into something much more exciting. The world of coin collecting is filled with stories of unexpected discoveries. People have found collectible coins hidden in piggy banks, inherited collections, old cash registers, estate sales, and forgotten jars. These stories capture the imagination because they remind us that valuable items are not always displayed in museums or auction houses. Sometimes they are hiding in places where nobody thinks to look. What makes coin collecting so fascinating is the contrast between appearance and reality. A worn coin may seem insignificant, yet it could carry historical importance or possess characteristics that make it desirable to specialists. At the same time, a brilliant coin may owe its value not to rarity of date but to rarity of condition. Understanding this difference is one of the most important lessons for anyone entering the hobby. The 1978 penny also represents a period before major changes in cent composition occurred. A few years later, rising metal costs would eventually lead to significant changes in how cents were manufactured. As a result, these copper-rich pennies have become increasingly appreciated by collectors who enjoy owning coins from an earlier era of American minting. Many newcomers believe that age alone determines value. However, experienced collectors know that condition is often even more important. Two coins with the same date may have dramatically different market values depending on how well they were preserved. A heavily worn coin may be worth only a modest amount, while a nearly perfect example can attract significant interest. Among specialists, professional grading has become an essential part of the modern coin market. Experts evaluate coins according to strict standards and assign numerical grades that reflect their preservation. Even a small improvement in grade can produce a substantial increase in value. This is why serious collectors pay close attention to every detail, from surface quality to strike sharpness and overall eye appeal. The thrill of examining old coins comes from the possibility of discovering something unusual. Collectors often search for striking anomalies, unusual characteristics, and exceptional examples that distinguish one coin from millions of others. Every coin inspected becomes part of a treasure hunt where patience, knowledge, and observation can lead to remarkable discoveries. For many people, the greatest attraction of the hobby is the connection to history. Every 1978 penny passed through countless hands before arriving in the present day. It may have traveled across cities, states, or even the entire country. It witnessed everyday transactions, changing economic conditions, and decades of American life. Holding such a coin creates a direct link to the past that few other objects can provide. Stories about rare coins selling for extraordinary amounts often inspire newcomers to examine their own collections. While most 1978 pennies are common, exceptional examples and rare varieties continue to attract collector interest. The possibility of finding a hidden treasure keeps the excitement alive and encourages people to look more closely at the coins they already own. The popularity of Lincoln cents has endured for generations because they combine accessibility with historical significance. Almost everyone has encountered a penny at some point in life. Yet few realize how much history can be contained within such a small object. The 1978 Lincoln cent perfectly illustrates this idea. It is both an everyday coin and a collectible artifact, depending on the eyes of the person examining it. As you study old coins, pay attention to details that others may overlook. Look carefully at the surfaces, the color, the sharpness of the design, and the overall preservation. Notice whether the coin retains traces of original mint luster or displays attractive natural toning. These observations help reveal the true character of a coin and determine its appeal to collectors. One of the greatest lessons taught by coin collecting is patience. Valuable discoveries rarely happen instantly. Collectors spend years learning about minting techniques, grading standards, historical context, and market trends. The knowledge gained along the way often becomes just as rewarding as the coins themselves. Today, most circulated 1978 Lincoln pennies with no mint mark remain affordable collectibles. However, well-preserved uncirculated examples can command much stronger prices, especially when certified by professional grading services. The finest known specimens are valued because of their exceptional preservation and rarity within top grades. Their worth reflects collector demand and scarcity of condition rather than the date alone. As we conclude our journey through the story of the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny, one truth becomes clear. Never underestimate a coin simply because it appears ordinary. Hidden within that small copper cent is a remarkable story of American history, craftsmanship, and survival across decades of circulation. Every scratch, every color change, and every detail tells part of that story. So before you spend an old 1978 penny, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look beyond its face value. Consider the decades it has traveled through history and the countless hands that may have carried it. Whether it turns out to be a valuable collectible or simply a fascinating keepsake, it remains a genuine piece of America's past. And sometimes, the greatest treasure is not the price written on a holder, but the history held within the coin itself. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through 3 fascinating Lincoln pennies. Remember, the next time you find an old coin hidden in a drawer, a box, or a forgotten collection, take a closer look. You never know what story, mystery, or treasure might be waiting to be discovered.